What is up, everyone? Let's get right into it. And we start things off with the one, the only, the loot boxes, of course, and the controversy that has been slowly growing around them since late last year and much of this year after the disasters brought upon the gaming community from EA Star Wars Battlefront 2 situation where we saw EA literally trying to push in a pay-to-win loot box system that would basically require players to gain loot boxes in order to gain digital cards that would give them significant buffs in multiplayer. This was widely criticized internationally, actually leading to a number of countries investigating the game in order to determine whether or not the game was considered to be a form of digital gambling. I mean, this was such a big deal that even Disney actually had to step in and tell EA that they were displeased with all the negative press around the game. It's also being reported right now, and mind you, I'm saying it's being reported because nothing is set in stone yet, but Disney might actually be revoking the Star Wars franchise from EA. Like I said, nothing is set in stone with this yet, and nothing is to be considered fact yet, but it is being reported. There are rumors floating around about it. We also saw the situation with Destiny 2 and the controversy they caused with their bright engrams, locking off a vast majority of the cosmetic items with the first expansion, and then with the dawning controversy where Bungie in their infinite wisdom decided that along with the many other controversies that are surrounding their latest title, they go out of their way to try and force players to purchase the premium currency to gain the event engrams if they wanted a chance to obtain all the event items and gear. This all led to not only some countries investigating the loot box issue, but also some states like Hawaii promising to push in legislation to try and fairly regulate the loot box fiasco that companies like EA, Activision Blizzard, Bungie, and several others have proven that they have no problem abusing when it comes to them making profit. So where are we as of now? Well, as it stands, we now have U.S. Senator Maggie Hassan sending a letter to the ESRB President, Patricia Vance, asking that the ESRB take the step to review its current rating practices, particularly keeping an eye on the transparency and ethical views of loot boxes. For those of you who aren't aware, the ESRB is the organization that is behind the ratings on each and every single video game. Basically, what they want them to do is to create processes of collecting and publishing data on the use of loot boxes and to come up with a system that developers can use as a best practice template when it comes to the loot box system. This in turn would give parents more control over what their children play and how they play it. She also praised the ESRB for their rating system and how it has been very effective to parents who aren't complete ducks, aka dumb fucks, so I don't get demonetized, which at this point it doesn't really matter since all my stuff is getting demonetized tomorrow. Oh well. But she also notes that loot boxes are a relatively new phenomenon and that the ESRB must work to keep pace with the new gaming trends. She also said that if the ESRB fails to take action, that the government could become more directly involved, which is something we're already starting to see, especially with states like Hawaii. And she also asked something during a separate Q&A to all the FTC nominees, in which this topic was brought up, and I think what she asked really summarizes why we need some sort of regulation here. She asked them, do you agree that children are being addicted to gaming and activities like loot boxes that make them more susceptible to addiction is a problem that merits our attention? And then she followed the question with, and depending on how the ESRB responds to my inquiry, would the FTC be willing to look at loot boxes as an issue independently? To which all the nominees said yes. So I know you're all eager to hear how I feel about all this. Well, for starters, I definitely feel that the ESRB definitely needs to step in with some new standards on the rating system, especially when it comes to loot boxes. I definitely think that if they don't do anything, that it's up to the government to push through with its own legislation in order to not only give parents the opportunity to understand just what kind of games they're buying for their kids, but also to force companies like EA to really have to rethink whether or not to heavily invest in a loot box system in a game that is primarily being sold to a younger audience, like Star Wars Battlefront 2. For someone like me, you don't have to explain loot boxes. I know what they are, I know why they're there, and I know the risk of putting my own money towards them. I also know that I would never let my kid play something like Star Wars Battlefront 2, at least not EA's version of it. And unless they had a full grasp of the destruction a gambling addiction can cause, I don't think I would ever let them put their own money towards loot boxes, even if it was their own money. For a parent that doesn't know the current video game trends, this is definitely something that they should be aware of before making a purchase. I mean, even Overwatch falls under this scrutiny, and they have one of the better loot box systems, but it doesn't change the fact that it is especially hard to get one of their newer skins, even if you try to put money towards the game. That's my entire stance on this whole topic, but I would love to hear what you guys think on it. Go ahead and leave your comments down below. Then to just lightly touch upon the subject of video game causing such and such, We had governors, senators, and even media clowns blaming violence in video games, movies, and even rap music for some reason for the Parkland school shooting, which took 17 lives. First off, I cannot explain to you guys how bad I feel for all those kids. That had to be an absolute nightmare to go through, and I think the worst feeling that I'm going through right now is the fact that I don't really know what the answer is to all of this. After everything we've been through, I don't know what the answer is. Some people are screaming that it's gun control, and others are screaming that it's mental health. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I honestly think that it lies somewhere in the middle, but everybody keeps screaming to the left and right that, you know, their side is right and the other side is completely wrong, that nobody ever really seems to be trying to figure out a solution here. They seem more interested in trying to prove their own point than figuring out a solution. But can we tell the people claiming that violence in media entertainment causes violence in real life to kindly fuck off? Research has shown time and time and time and time and time again that there is very little connection between the two of them. And for some reason, this has not connected with these people yet. But here we are again with the same old song and dance instead of trying to find a real solution. That's something that just took 17 people's lives, including children. But yeah, go ahead, Ducks. Keep blaming the fucking video games. That's really going to solve anything. Alright, now we got that off my chest, we can move on to some better news. We got the new trailer for The Incredibles 2. I was really excited for this. They actually aired this last week, but I just couldn't leave it out. It's awesome. I'm really excited to see this movie. Square Enix has announced Final Fantasy 15 is getting another batch of free content for their new multiplayer mode, Comrades. Yeah, they're actually taking this expansion seriously, which I'm excited to see. Them adding new content for it means that they don't just view this as a tacked-on portion of the game. It's meant to be added on as an experience. I don't know the full length of the update yet and how much they're actually adding, but it does look like they're putting in new customization options along with new mini games and possible new story content. Anyways, the update is set to be released on March 6th. And if you guys are interested, there is a trailer for it down below. The Wonder Years have announced they are heading on an amazing US tour that doesn't come anywhere near Ohio. Yeah, thanks for that. Anyways, the tour kicks off in May with support from Tiger Jaw, Tiny Moving Parts, and Warriors. Check out the dates below. The Acacia Strain has announced their new tour with support from Left Behind and The Downswing. The tour kicks off in late March and then runs into mid-April. Check out the dates for that below. Nothing Nowhere has announced that they have signed to Fuel by Ramen and have released a new song called Ruiner in the form of a music video, which you guys can check out below. One OK Rock has released their new song, Change. Check it out below. And Skinny Lizard has released their new song, Things Like That. The song is pretty politically active, so if you're the kind of person that's turned off by that, just be aware. But it is a good song. I did enjoy it. Be sure to check it out below if you guys want. Anyways, thank you all for joining me for this episode. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Share if you want to, too. Dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you want more. And as always, I will see you on the next one. Mars out.